Hello viewers, welcome back to the Moose Mobile Auto Repair channel, and today we're working on a 2014 Volkswagen Tiguan with the 2-liter TSI engine. And earlier today this vehicle broke down because the customer was not able to start the vehicle, and so he called me over to the parking lot close to his area, probably like 10 minutes or so away from where I live, and I had to boost the the vehicle to get it to start. And a couple weeks or so ago, he had the same problem when I was servicing this vehicle, because I was checking some things on the scan tool, and the ignition was on for like 10 minutes and then it would not start after that. So I tested the battery and the alternator, and everything seems to be okay. I also used my snap-on the AVR machine to test the alternator amperage output during idle and at 2500 RPM under load, and everything seems to be okay. And I was just doing my due diligence. Although that the battery is 4 years old, it still tested fine. It was putting out about 581 cold cranking amps. It's rated at 640 cold cranking amps, and so I checked for a parasitic drain on this. It has about 2.6, 2.7 amps of a parasitic drain. So there is something in the vehicle that's draining the battery. So we are going to have a look at it today. So I use the Snap-on MT3760 AVR machine earlier. I tested the vehicle during idle and at 2500 RPM. I'll put the screenshots here for you guys to see. I think it was getting like 10.6 volts, 50 something amps during idle, and 10.8, 108 amps at 2500 RPM. So the alternator, it checks out okay for the time being. When you are doing a load test on either the battery, alternator, or starter system, you must make sure that the voltage of 9.6 volts or higher must be maintained while under load for approximately 10 to 15 seconds. If the voltage threshold is below this number, then the component being tested, either the alternator or battery or starter, would be defective and would need to be replaced. Anything below 9.6 volts would not allow the onboard computers and electronics such as the fuel injection system, ignition system, and so on would not be able to operate properly. So I tested the battery. The battery is okay. I have a conductance tester and it's still good. It said it's rated at 640. It said amps, but this is a cold cranking amps. And I removed the fuse box for now so I can check the fuses. You unlock the fuse panel by sliding the sliders back to the unlock position. I also disconnected the nonsense, the rust proof module thing, and I checked the amperage, and that's not the problem. So I'm still in the very beginning of the diagnosis now, so I'm probably going to start pulling one fuse at a time to see if the drain goes away or not. So I'm just using a cheap multimeter. I put this into the amp scale, DC amps, rated at 10 amps. Over here, I switched it over from the volts to the amperage scale here. So I'll put that here for you guys to see. I'll need to clamp it down somehow so you guys can see it better. So you can see it's 2.35 amps and it's jumping. Well, now it's dropped considerably now. So 0.54 amps now. And now typically a rule of thumb is usually is 50 milliamps or less. So that would be 0.05 amps or less. And now usually sometimes the modules they would need to be put to sleep, so you would have to wait 20 to 30 minutes, and making sure that you don't open any doors or anything, making sure everything is turned off before you do this. I just disconnected the negative terminal, and I put one of my leads on the negative terminal and one of my leads on the negative post to check for a parasitic drain. You can also check on the other side with the positive terminal if you want. So I'm going to use the test light. It lights up. So this indicates that there's still a load in the system. When I clamp the test light, you see the light, it lights up, meaning that there is still a load going on in the system. This should not light up. There's one thing I noticed. As soon as I put this here, I can hear a relay click. So it could be a bad relay. It's this one that is clicking. So this is probably causing the current draw. It's probably very easy diagnostic. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the relay is clicking on and off. I can feel it too. And that is pulling about 2.4, 2.5 amps. So I'm going to hold this down and remove the relay and watch the current draw, see if that drops. And that's going to be the source of our issue. It went down to 0.54 amps. I'm not sure on what the specifications are, but you have to look the specifications to see on what is normal on your vehicle. Usually it's 50 milliamps or less. It's dropping now to 0.4, so it's gonna take some time for that to drop. If I put this back in, this will go back up. So right now I took this relay out and I put it back in, and the load, it comes back. The load comes back. Sometimes it intermittently does not work. There's a big load here, 3.16 amps. You could hear a click as I remove the lead off of the negative terminal. It clicks on and off. So I'm going to take this out, and it should drop. It would drop to 0.54 of an amp, 0.55 amps. And when I take the other one out, is very similar. There's no change. There's no change. It's still the same. So I believe that this relay is defective. It's staying on. I have a relay tester, so we are going to test that out too. And I might just I recommend the customer both relays and replace them. Now it's down to 0.4. It may take some time for the amperage to drop and for the electrical system to settle. This is probably still a little bit too high, but could be some modules that take some time to go to sleep and shut down, usually 20 to 30 minutes or longer. So you have to watch out for that. But I believe that this is the main source of the problem. As soon as I do this, the test light goes out.
The florist.
You're gonna be on YouTube.
Who?
You.
I want to be famous.
Say cheese.
Radio. Say cheese.
So it's dropped to 0.54 amps. The touch light is out now, but when I let go, it comes back on. So I have the relay tester machine that I have here that puts a load on it, a 7 amp load. This is a 4-pin relay, so I'm going to test this one out. I think that one of them are bad, but just because it tests okay does not necessarily mean that it's good, right? This is intermittently working on and off. So just because that the relays are tested okay on the machine, and this machine that I have, it puts a 7 amp load on the relays, sometimes there could be corrosion in the contacts that could keep the relays stuck open or in the closed position, so it could remain on the entire time and cause a current drain on the electrical system. So right now it's at 0.4 amps. That's still a little bit high, but it's a lot better than what it was before. I'm just going to double check the rest of the fuses in this box just to make sure that there isn't anything else that's draining the system. So we are going to keep an eye on the meter, and I'm going to pull one fuse at a time and see if the number drops for the amperage. At this time, I already found the main source of the problem, which were the relays. There's no change there. I decided to start with that first, and I also found a fuse that was powering the instrument cluster, and so I told the customer to start with the relays, and then I will follow up with him in 2 to 4 weeks time to double check and see if the car is still starting okay. At this time, I already spent about an hour looking at the vehicle or so I decided to stop. I did not check the interior fuse box because I don't think it was necessary, because I already found the main source of the problem. The customer did not want me to continue any further because he didn't want me to add any more diagnostic time on top. The load dropped now to 0.15 amps. This fuse. The load comes back, went to 0.4. Just keep an eye on this one. Have a look at the other fuses. I don't know if these are spare fuses or not on this side. Sometimes I might have to disconnect the meter and retry to refresh it. This will apply a load into the system again, and you have to wait for it to drop sometimes. So 0.54. So when I pull this out, it drops. This guy here, the 5 amp fuse here. So we're gonna pull it out and watch the meter. It drops to 0.3 now. So this could be one other issue too, more than one problem. Drops to 0.15 now. That's the 150 milliamps. That's still a little bit higher, but it's a million times better than what it was before. And this car is a bit high tech, so it has a lot of modules and stuff. So I'm going to look up this fuse to see on what it powers. So the amperage will fluctuate up and down. So the 5 amp fuse here, I believe, is for the instrument cluster. Now it's turned off. You know, if you can put this back in, yeah, if you can put it back in just by hand, yeah. So we're gonna put the fuse back in, and the instrument cluster should turn on. You put it in the right one.
Yeah, for this one here, right?
The next one over. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Oh. You take it out. Okay, put it back in. Yeah. Okay. So there could be an issue with the instrument cluster or something related to that, but I'm not sure yet. But we are going to start off with the relays first and just go from there. So what I'm going to do now is just we're going to start off with the relays first, because the instrument cluster could be possibly causing a drain, the cluster itself.
Once you get there's two relays in the amp.
Yeah, and just start with that for now. And then, we'll do the 2 relays, and then we will just go from there.
Why? Then I have to come back and spend more money?
No.
Why don't you get these two and just get this?
No, there's nothing wrong. This is just a fuse.
Okay.
It's the circuit that's causing the problem. It's not the fuse that's causing the problem.
Okay.
The circuit itself is causing the issue. Is and whatever is this is just a fuse. Replacing the fuse is not going to do anything. The relay is different because there's a circuit inside the relay that's behaving like a circuit. This is just a plastic with 2 pieces of metal together. And that's it. This is just to protect the electrical system from any problems like shorts or anything like that. So for now, I'm just gonna put everything all back together, okay? And I'm probably going to check some more information on that circuit for this fuse, and just go from there. I'm just going to put everything back now, okay?
Order those relays, please.
We're gonna put this in.
No, it's the other way. Yeah.
No, right. Making sure it's in locked. Yeah. We're just gonna see if yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if your battery needs to be recharged. I think it should be okay. It should be okay for now. Retest the battery first, just to be on the safe side. It was good and recharge. Yeah, we drained the battery for some time now. It's 365 now, We have to see if the battery will still be okay or not, or if it needs replacement. And it's fairly low, but I'll just recharge it for now. So actually, one thing I forgot to mention just now, I tested the battery. Said it's bad and replaced. The battery is no good actually. So it tested okay in earlier weeks in the last like yesterday and 2 weeks ago it tested okay, and now it's bad. So this battery is no good. Batteries are like yogurt, they go bad over time if they sit out for too long. So this battery is no good. So that's my correction. I did say that the battery was okay earlier, but it's not. I just go based on experience. Sometimes you have to take these battery testers with a grain of salt. So fast forward about a week now. I got the two relays, brand new relays. I was not able to get them from the Volkswagen dealership, unfortunately, because they said they were not able to get it or something. So I'm not sure. So I just ended up purchasing an aftermarket version of these relays by URO parts. I believe that this company is located in California, in the USA, and they make all kinds of European parts for the aftermarket. And so on this one, the part number is the same exact part number as the one that's on the Volkswagen Audi relay that we are replacing. So the part number for this relay is 7M0951-253A. So I'm just going to take my relay tester. I'm using one of my personal vehicle batteries so that I can just test out the relay. I want to make sure that that they are okay. So I'm going to open this up. It's a 4-pin relay. So this is gonna go here, 4-pin. I'm just testing them out for the sake of testing them out. I just want to make sure that they are okay. Here's the other one. This relay tester machine is a very good one compared to the older versions, because this particular one, it puts a 7 amp load onto the relay. So in some cases, if there's no load on the relay, it could pass. And so that's why that when you put a load in the circuit of the relay, and it's possible that the relay could fail while under load. So that's the reason why they designed this, so that it can put a little bit of a load on the relay, because that is a real test. Now I know some people who have had the old version of this. It's like a reddish color. I think it's red. I think I still have one somewhere, but I don't use it anymore because I have this one. That old tester will pass almost every single relay. All the tester does is to test the contacts that's inside the relay to make sure that it activates and deactivate. So it clicks on and off each and every time. So it's only testing the contact. It's not testing anything else. So this relay tester is a whole lot better, because I've seen this tester fail relays that were good with the old tester, and I already knew from experience that the relay is no good. So it passed on the other red tester, the machine. It's by the same company as this, ES, Electronic Specialties. So it would pass on that machine, but then when I put the relay in here, it would fail it. So anyhow, I'm going to be replacing these now on off camera. I'm going to be replacing these, and that's going to be it. I will give you guys an update in 2 to 4 weeks, just to make sure that everything is okay and that the parasitic drain issue has been solved. So after I replace the relays, I'm going to open up the old relays, and just for experimental purposes, I just want to see if there's any corrosion in between the contacts, because there are some times that that relays that work intermittently, or relays that are always staying on, like the contacts are remaining, I believe, in the closed position, depending if a relay is normally open or normally closed. So if it's stuck in the closed position, that means there's always a current going through it, even when the vehicle is turned off, because it's hot at all times. It's always receiving power all the time. So that's going to drain the battery over time. And so I just want to have a look at the old relays, because I know that if there's like corrosion or something in between the contacts, it can cause the relay to stick. And so that's why there's like an intermittent issue with these relays. That's why in some cases the relay can stick on and stick off. So it will intermittently remain on sometimes and remain off. So that's where the problem is. So one other thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention earlier in the video, I didn't want to use my expensive multimeter to check for a parasitic drain, because the issue is that once you set the multimeter into the amperage scale, where it says 10 amp fused, over here says 10 amp fused. Even if it's fused, still the issue is that I decided to use a cheapo or cheap multimeter, because just in case I don't want to damage my good multimeter, even though that it's fused. The reason being is that once you have this on the amp scale and you connect it to the battery, all of the amperage is flowing through the meter. And so anything that happens on the vehicle, all of the amperage is going through the meter now. So if you exceed 10 amps, it's possible to damage the meter. And so that's why I stated earlier to make sure that you don't open any doors or anything like that, because that's going to spike the amperage up. The only way around this, for most cars, they have like a rubber grommet and a button in which the door closes against. So if you have like a plastic clamp or something to clamp onto the button, that will signify that the door is closed, so that the interior lights or anything won't turn on when you open the door, or other doors, because typically when you open the door of the vehicle, it's possible to wake up the modules on the vehicle. On some cars, or most modern cars, it may take up to 20 to 30 minutes for all of the modules to go to sleep. And so that's why that sometimes when you are checking for a parasitic drain, you may see a high amount of current going through the meter and coming through the vehicle, because it takes some time for the modules to go to sleep. What I mean by modules going to sleep, a module is like a small computer, and so they usually have like a standby mode, or they turn themselves off so that it's not utilizing any electricity. So you want to make sure that all of the modules are powered down before you start testing for a parasitic drain. Otherwise, you are going to get a false reading on the multimeter. Now later in the week, I was having a look at some TSB's, technical service bulletins from Volkswagen, and it stated specifically in the bulletin that you have to wait up to 2 hours, or 2 hours before you start doing your testing. And so that's a very long wait. They say to disconnect everything and hook up the meter, and then it states that you have to wait 2 hours before you actually start doing the testing. So in some cases, you probably have to notify the customer that they will need to drop their vehicle off so you can do the testing, because of the very long wait time that's needed. That's the only way to do a proper parasitic drain or draw testing on the vehicle. So after I install the relays, we'll see on what happens. We'll give it 2 to 4 weeks. I think it's a safe bet to wait up to 1 month, and then we'll know for sure if the vehicle is okay after that, because I did mention earlier in the video there's a 5 amp fuse that's also a contributor to the problem, because the instrument cluster, the 5 amp fuse, is related to the instrument cluster and steering column circuit or something. I couldn't get too much information about that yet, but I just told the customer I will follow up with them after replacing the relays and just go from there. I do know that on some of the Volkswagen, this is an F11 fuse, the 5 amp fuse, which is for the instrument cluster and steering column. I think it's for the steering lock or something. I'm not 100% sure. And so I still have to do some more investigation work if the customer is still having issues in starting the vehicle and having the battery drain. But say that after I follow up in maybe like a month time, and the customer is still okay, and he's able to start the vehicle with no issues after that, then I'm just going to conclude the diagnostic and just leave it at that. So just make sure that if you do have the multimeter powered onto the 10 amp fused scale, just make sure that you place this back into the voltage part, because if you don't, and you turn this to volts or something, and you try to test something out, is going to pop the fuse and or to blow the meter, and then the meter is garbage. So just make sure that you switch this over to the voltage scale, not on AC. Otherwise, it's going to destroy the meter. I just use this cheap multimeter because just in case if anything happens, I don't want to damage my good Fluke a multimeter, which is a few $100 or so. So after replacing the relays with brand new ones, I opened up both of the old relays, and one relay in particular, if you look closely, you can see the contacts are severely worn out. You can see the circular mark on where the contacts are, and so you can tell that the contacts are worn out on the one relay. If you look at the other relay, you can see that there are no circular marks or wear marks on that relay. So I've concluded my diagnostic in proving that relay was sticking and causing the drain on this vehicle. So that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already a subscriber, and please don't forget to hit that bell notification if you haven't done so, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day and take care.